Thank you, Travis. Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We start off in Trinidad and Tobago, where public health restrictions implemented a month ago to roll back on the reopening of the economy as the country's COVID-19 spread worsened will be extended for another 4 weeks. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley confirmed. Government partially rolled back on the reopening of the country from August 16, reducing the number of people allowed to gather from 10 to 5, closing beaches, rivers and water parks, stopping in-house dining, and making the wearing of masks in public mandatory. Since then, there have been more than 2,200 positive COVID-19 cases recorded and at least 38 deaths. But while Dr. Rowley and Ministry of Health officials believe without the restrictions the number would be higher, they don't believe the country is yet in a position for the measures to be lifted. Technical Director of the Ministry of Health's Epidemiology Division, Dr. Avery Hines, said there are hints that the measures are beginning to work, but they need more time. The restrictions will stay in effect until October 11, but Dr. Rowley said a review will be done in 2 weeks on September 28. The fresh probe launched into the controversial death of Jamaica-born Rashid Edwards has forced some residents of a New Jersey township to raise questions over the transparency of the police and post-mortem reports. Edwards, 32, was found unresponsive in the garage of his Wall Township, New Jersey home on March 1 with a gunshot wound to the right side of his head. His death was ruled a suicide by the county, but after a series of protests and legal maneuvering by his family, the New Mammoth Common Law Enforcement Unit agreed in August to review the case. 2 autopsy reports initially concluded that Edwards had committed suicide. His family rubbished those conclusions and protested that no gunshot residue was found on Edwards' hands and that the weapon was found in his left hand, although he was right-handed. Rashid Edwards was living with a white spouse in Wall County, New Jersey, which, according to the Demographic Statistical Atlas of the United States, is 80% white, with blacks accounting for a meager 3% and Hispanics constituting 2.2% of the population. And finally, on tonight's regional news, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced on Sunday that schools wouldn't reopen until 2021 at the earliest. I quote, "It is not helpful for the control of the pandemic," end of quote, Maduro said about face-to-face classes, which had been due to resume this month. He said teaching would be moved online and lessons would also be broadcast on a state TV channel. But many parents have warned that with Venezuela's internet speed, one of the slowest in Latin America, further interrupted by frequent power cuts, neither online nor TV classes are a viable alternative. Critics of Maduro also say they fear lessons broadcast on state channels will be used by the socialist government to indoctrinate children. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining, and back to you, Travis.